Is Danielle here? Danielle, are you here? Let me know. Unmute. Okay. Can somebody remind me
I'm here.
Okay, can you I don't know if you'll be here later, but if you will give me like a summary of your from your document, because I couldn't remember our original conversation. It's been in the back of my mind and it's been bothering me and I keep forgetting to ask you. So can you remind me in a chat or send me a voice message about your document?
You
About
want me to send it the voice circle or?
Oh yeah, you can do a voice in circle.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right. Excuse my ADHD. It's gonna be real today because yeah, we on Sunday and usually I have a break to like calm it down, but we're here. Anyways, I'm gonna do this and do this. Okay, so today, what our schedule is going to look like is that we gonna have a real, I don't know, living room conversation. I'm continuing on my conversation from yesterday. We're going to get into drafts and literature and whatnot, but I first want to set the scene. Like, I first want to have a conversation about why you're here, what you signed up, and what it really means to be doctor. Y'all know the rules. If something resonates with you, if something like hits your spirit, make sure you say yes or ouch or something in the chat. We can all be in this together. For those of you who want to know more about the Finish Your Dissertation Institute, right after today's session, I will be going over all that's included. Yeah. I want you to think about this questions as I'm talking. How do you want to feel today? How do you want to feel today? If you can choose, which you can, how you want to feel as we finish up day 2, how do you want to feel? What does that look like? What do you need? Like, what help, what resources, what questions do you need answered in order to feel confident about your next step? So when we move on from today and you go to your own writing or you come back into FYD, what do you need? Who can help you get what you need? These questions sound simple on the surface, y'all, but they're very challenging because we're not often used to thinking about this. Who can help you get what you need? And how can they help you? Sometimes we wait until we're so overwhelmed to be like, I need help. I can't clearly articulate what we need help and who can help us and how they can help us. So I want you to think about that today. What do you still need? Who can help you? And how can they help you? Not overwhelmed. What's a different way? You want to feel relaxed? You want to feel hopeful? You want to feel inspired? What is the opposite of overwhelmed for you? Is it calm? Is it at peace? Is it certain? I want to feel accomplished. Oh, I like that. A sense of direction for what's next, accomplished. I want you to think about confident and control. What does it look like to feel accomplished? Because accomplished, I'll give it to you. That's a feeling. But I want you to contextualize that a little bit more. How will you know that you feel accomplished? Because most of you will say to me, if I have something done. And sure, a piece of evidence, but I'm asking you, how will you know in your body that that's how you feel? What does accomplished feel like in your body? Where do you feel it? Is it colors? Is it sounds? What does that feel like? Okay, at peace, not worried, productive. My gut will no longer be in knots. Yeah. So I want you to keep thinking about that, okay, as we go along. I want you to also pay attention to how you're feeling as I'm talking. Looking at, you can jot some things down. You can tell me yes or ouch in the comments, but let me know. So going back to yesterday's question, why are you not writing? Do you have a different answer from yesterday about why you're not writing? Or why you're not being consistent? Or why you're not making the progress you want to make? Did your answer change at all from yesterday after our discussion? Right, I told you to stop entertaining your excuses. Anything else comes up from that? And let me be clear again, in case you were not here yesterday. I'm not saying that you won't have excuses. I won't say that there won't be valid reasons as to you having obstacles or not. What I am saying is we don't have to entertain them. We don't have to sit there and add on suffering and like, woe is me on top of those things. We can decide to take a step back and be like, okay, what do I need? Do I need help? Do I need my questions answered? What type of support? Do I just need to go lay down? And decide, be intentional with how you decide to move forward. But continuously talking about it and being like, this isn't fair, means you're playing the victim role. If you are a victim, that means other people have power and you have no control over the situation. But when you say, okay, I can't control everything, but these are things I can, and let me go do that, it gets you into action. It gets you doing. Okay. So again, stop entertaining those excuses. And I want to remind you, you are a powerhouse. Powerhouse, according to the Googles, is a person or thing of great energy, strength, or power. Do you believe that you are? You do realize that majority of the world, they're not in a doctoral program. They're not attempting to be a doctor. Do you like actually sit and think about that? I know we say the numbers and we talk about percentages about like 2 to 3% of the world are doctors, but do you really think about that? Because most of you spend a lot of time in higher education around other doctors, and it can be easy to think, oh, everyone's a doctor. What I'm doing is not that big of a deal. 3%. And when we start getting down into minoritized identities, now we're talking about fractions of a percent. Like, has it sunk in that you're doing something that most people won't even dare? They don't even have the courage to do. Most people won't even make it this far to even talk about a dissertation. That takes great power. Don't get like lost in everybody in their title because you're around people. Step outside the higher ed bubble. You are doing something that most people wouldn't even think about, wouldn't even consider doing. Most people will fail at doing. And you're making it all the way towards the end. You got one step for most of you, one step in between you and graduation. Think about that. So remember, yes, ouch, an emoji, I'll take whatever as I go through this. Okay, those of you in FYD, you've heard this. I want you to remember the first time I talked about this and think about where you were then and think about how you're feeling now as I go through this. Because the more we hear a thing, the more that we can understand how we're evolving through the process, right? So let's say we're going to go back to childhood, right? Let's say you young, you 8, okay? Because I feel like around 7 to 8, the way these commercials are set up and Disney Plus is set up, everybody want to go to Disney World. And say your mama came in and said, okay, if you clean your room, we will go to Disney World. It was like you have 4 things in order to clean your room. Why? Because you're 8. Make your bed, throw away the trash, organize the bookshelf, and vacuum the floor, which the vacuum probably is going to take you out at 8. But listen, maybe you got one of those self-moving vacuum. Okay. That's all you have to do to clean your room. If you do these 4 things, you go to Disney World. But then you being like, no, I'm going to really clean the room. I'm going to really prove that I deserve to go to Disney World. So not only am I going to do those 4 things, I'm also going to declutter my closet, so I can make sure I know what I have to wear and I can pack and I can like work smarter, not harder. I'm gonna declutter those books because the reason why they so messy is I got too many. And I got those little kid books. I don't even read those no more. I'm gonna wipe the baseboards because she always yelling about the baseboards. So I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna upcycle some books and clothes because I've been watching the YouTubes and they said you can upcycle. This is your new list because you decided you want to show, you want to prove that you can go to Disney World. And so you decide because your brain is like, let me be strategic. Wouldn't it make more sense if I did this part first and then do that? Because if I do this first, then I do this and it's going to be more trash and I'm going to have to repeat. So let me just do this first. But then you start decluttering the closet and you get tired because your ADHD got the best of you. And now you just scattered like clothes and everything is scattered around your room, ran out of steam. And then you moved on to the books because you're like, maybe I need something new because maybe I just need to get my mojo back. Okay, let me go do the books because I'm gonna go to Goodwill. I'm gonna ask my mama to take me to Goodwill so I can take the stuff there and then I'm gonna find some things to upcycle. I'm gonna get to the floorboards later, right? And you end up just doing this a lot, but you don't even get back to your original list. You don't get back to the part that she said if you just did this, you could go to Disney World because you didn't got lost over here. So not only do you not finish this part, but you don't even make it over here. So who ain't going to Disney World? You. You believe deep down if something is too easy or too simple, then you don't deserve the reward. It couldn't have been that simple to just do those 4 things. And that would have been enough to go to something like Disney World, right? I've been asking for years to go to Disney World. And now she's just going to say, if I just make my bed and throw away some trash and put the books up, I get to go. That make no sense. That makes no sense in your brain, right? This, though, is a habit. This is how you self-sabotage. And it's just a habit at this point. It's not that it's something wrong with you. It's not that people don't understand. It's just that you got a habit of self-sabotaging because you don't think good things can come from small amounts of effort. Right? Go back to the dissertation. Your chair tells you send them a complete draft of the literature review to get started on your dissertation. Their expectations is for you to read about 10 to 20 articles, write a 20-page draft, just a draft. They're using the word complete draft, but they're just saying a draft. They want to give you feedback on a 20-page draft because in their mind, if you're writing a 20-page paper, you're going to do the same things you did in courses where you edit it and it's somewhat complete so that when you give it to them, then they can give you feedback and then you're going to apply their feedback and you're going to submit it again. And then they're going to give you more feedback and you're going to repeat this process until they say you're ready to defend. But because you think you know better, and this doesn't sound like it either sounds too simple or it sounds like it'll take too long, you say, no, I'm going to just skip to the end. I'm going to read 200 articles and I'm going to write them 100-page draft. And then I'm going to submit it to my friends, my writing groups, my other committee members, my mentor, just so I can make sure that they look at and they validate that it's good before I give it to my chair. Because by the time I give it to my chair, I just want to make sure we're good to go. I don't want to go back and forth with my chair. And so then when they give it to you and then they got feedback, you got an attitude because your expectation was that because you did all this extra work, that they shouldn't have anything to say about the draft. It should just be good to go. But the issue is this was their expectations. You did something different. Self-sabotage is a habit. What if this process of becoming a doctor, what if the process of writing a dissertation is real simple? What if it's meant to be easy because you did all the work? You prepared already. What if this is just about showing up and taking it step by step? But your brain is like, why would I waste the time going through all these multiple rounds and feedback and having them telling me what I did wrong and what I could have did different if I could just do it in one draft? If I could just save time, right? Because no, Dr. Lisa, I got a plan. I'm going to be done by March, girl. Okay. And I don't got time to be going back and forth with this person because that's going to take too much time. My question is, well, why are you rushing to the end? What are you rushing towards exactly? What do you think happens at the end that you feel like you got to rush through this process? Most of you don't even know what you're going to do after you graduate. Most ain't even thought about it. So you're going to get to the stage, you're going to graduate, and then what? You're going to keep doing the life you're doing right now? You're going to have the same you have right now? What are we rushing to? And then you don't know what you're doing because you have never written a dissertation before. So how do you know how to rush through it? How do you know what's even required? How do you know if what your mentors and your friends and your writing group is even telling you is going to work? How do you know? You ain't never did this before. Yeah, you wrote papers for courses. You ain't never wrote a dissertation. And so you're ignoring the one person who can tell you what to do. Here's the bottom line. Your way is not working. It's not. You keep doing it your way. You keep trying it, doing the same strategies you've been using, and it's not working. Why keep doing it if it's not working? You know that's insanity, right? You keep doing the same things, expecting different results. It's not working. The master's house systems are designed to protect themselves, right? Y'all love to tell me about systemic oppression in all its forms. Systems are designed to protect themselves. You signed up for a system that is very clear about how it wants people to behave, very clear about the rules. At the moment, you keep trying to change a system that you don't even understand. Right? Think about your research topic. Think about the conversation we were having yesterday. How this system was originally intended is that you are assigned to a faculty member, and that faculty member is doing research. Right? They got their own thing going, and you are supposed to sit there, be quiet, and be grateful that this faculty member is allowing you to work with them. Your only job as a student is to help them advance their work, because as you're working to help them advance, you will learn research. You will learn the ins and outs. You would learn rigor. You get to only focus on your work after you graduate, after you become a doctor. But then we got this thing called capitalism, right? That was like, ooh, interest convergence for those of you, critical race theory. Interest convergence came in and said, if we let all the students in, and if we let them choose their research, most of them won't finish, but at least we'll get the dollars for the research, for the course hours. At least we'll get more money in programs. At least we get to look good and say, look at our diverse student body on our website and our materials. So they let you choose your own topic. But the system hasn't changed. The foundation is the same. We're going to favor and privilege you, extension of your chair. Those who have more privilege innately understand that this is the system. It's how they've been operating their whole lives, because that's the very definition of privilege. So they get assigned to their chair or their faculty. They go to their chair and they say, hey, chair, what would you like for me to study? And their chair says, do this. And they say, okay. And they go do it. When they get stuck, they come back. They say, hey, chair, I got stuck here. What do I do now? The chair says, do this. Okay. They come back and they say, okay, what else do I need to do? Do this, do that, do this. You know what they're not doing? They're not fighting. They're not arguing. They're not trying to change nothing. They're not trying to do nothing that's like, ooh, they're not up on this. They're not doing nothing emergent. Okay. They're not saying, I saw this at this one conference. They said, oh, do this. I'm going to do that. Why? Because their goal is clear. Get to graduation. I ain't trying to save nobody. I ain't trying to do that. I'm trying to get to graduation. So for those people who love to save, you keep thinking to yourself over and over, I just want to get to graduation. I just want this to be over. Do you? Are you sure? Are you sure you just want it to be over? Because if you did, you would do this. But no. You know what you wouldn't be doing? Or we would be doing? You would be meeting with your chair every week so you can get their instructions. You would be writing down their instructions word for word. You would be doing that, nothing more, nothing less. You would submit drafts early and often. You would disagree with them in your head, but you would do it anyway. You'd be like, it's the dumbest thing I ever heard, but if that's what you want, let me go do it. Because what do I know? I'm learning the process. You wouldn't take their feedback personally. You wouldn't take the feedback meaning that like you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what you're talking about or you got to prove something to them. You'd be like, oh, that's what you want me to do? Sounds good. Let me go do it. You would allow research to be research. It will not be your life's work. You would not be trying to do it for the ancestors and your grandma and everybody. You would be doing what they asked you to do. Okay, leave your ancestors out of this. Because truth be told, they be confused, like, why are you here, though? Mm-mm. When people show you who they are, believe them. What do I mean by this? You sitting over there fighting with these people about how they're not inclusive, how they say they care about diversity, inclusion, and equity, how they say they fear for the whole student, and they keep showing you day in and day out that they're not. Even though their words say one thing, what do their actions say? What Auntie Maya say when people show you, when they show you who they are, you believe them. Why would you trust the system with your life's work when they've already shown you they don't care? Why would you be working overtime to prove to them that they are oppressive? Don't they know? They keep showing you. They keep doing the same thing. Nobody's changed. They're reading the same books you're reading. They saw the same research you saw. There's not enough citations, facts, data that you could show them for them to be like, oh, okay, you're right. Let's do it. Believe them. Respond accordingly. There is a way to dismantle the system. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying betray your values or your beliefs. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying separate. Do you know your presence is a disruption? Less than 50 years ago, you couldn't go. You couldn't be in that program. They didn't like you in there. A research topic is a disruption. So Heather, it's okay. Let it be a disruption. Your example, how you show up. Do you realize how many people are watching you? There are people you don't even know watching you. There are people who see you. You're making it. You're still in this process. The fact that you show up and you go to class or you show up and you keep putting words on the page for the dissertation is a disruption in itself. As a doctor, you will continue to disrupt. You first, though, need to learn the rules to the game before you can change them. You first need to understand the system so that you can go and get the support and the people and the structural resources to change a system. One person cannot change a system. You are a person, not a system. And as you understand the rules and what's all involved, you also understand the consequences, how to work around those things. Right now, you're going to these people's system and you're like, you're not doing it the way I think you do it. And so you're fighting with them and they're looking at you like, who are you? You don't even know what you're doing. You just got here. I'm not listening to you. I'm not going to take you seriously. So it doesn't matter. You can keep trying to prove it to them, but you ain't earned it to be able to say, like, you haven't demonstrated you even know what the system is for you to be like, let's change it. In their eyes, I'm not saying what the reality is. I'm saying in their eyes, they're like, this is our system. You came over here. We didn't come over there to you. You came over here. The master's tool will never dismantle the master's house. They may allow us temporarily to beat him at his own game, but they will never enable us to bring about genuine change. And this fact is only threatening to those women who still define the master's house as their only source of support. Now, people love to quote Audrey, okay? They love to, and they only stop here. But what does this mean? Now, please keep breathing. You're going to have to be honest. You got to be honest right now. You claim in one breath that you want to dismantle the system. You want it to be inclusive. You want to do it for the people, for the community. But in the next breath, you like, you know what? I can't really do this work. I can't move forward, Dr. Lacey, because the system hasn't given me validation. They haven't told me I'm doing it right. They haven't told me I'm a good girl. Which one you want? You want to break it down? You want their approval? You want to be out here loud about equity and justice this, or you be in the system and be approved by the system and be of the system? Which one you want to do? Of course, there's a both and in here, because there are people who are going to dismantle the system from inside as well as outside. What I'm asking you to do is take a step back and what are you doing? What intention? When you are constantly saying, oh, let me write a paragraph and go ask my chair for approval. Let me go. You're asking for approval isn't about, am I meeting their expectations? You asking them for approval is like, am I good enough? Do I deserve to be here? If you do your own work of knowing that you already deserve to be here, and the approval that you're asking is, does this meet your expectations? Because I already know my work is good, but does this draft meet the expectations you had in mind? Because you're the one who got to sign this piece of paper. You don't attach your personal worth to whether they say you can move forward or not. Let this process be easy, y'all. I'm not saying that we haven't socialized to think in this way. What I'm asking you to do is take a step back and use the learning and the words and the knowledge that they gave you access to. The reason why you signed up to this program is because you wanted access to this knowledge. But it's easy to get caught up and then you forget why you did this. If you're really doing this for the ancestors, don't lose plot. Don't get in these people's like building and program and be like, I want to be one of you. Do you? Because you keep saying you want to tear it down and you seem confused. That's why people are not paying attention, because they're like, you're confused. Some more hard truths. Some of you are just simply not cut out to be doctor. And I don't know shit about that. Some of you are not. Some of you need to address your mental and emotional health first, and that's real. Some of you could be finished. Most of you on this call could be finished tomorrow if you would stop fighting and just these people they asking for and move on and go do the work. The price of becoming doctor requires discomfort, doubt, fear, uncertainty. It requires you to acknowledge it, let it be there, and you decide, I'm moving on anyway. Because right now you're operating in your privilege. You got privilege too. You don't get into a doc program, you ain't got no privilege. You don't have this fancy education and you ain't got no privilege. You got privilege. You too are a part of the system now. And right now, you exercising your privilege because you're real comfortable. You're real comfortable. You could stay at home and be like, I just don't feel like it. Well, I just don't want to. Well, I just want to do it right. But at the same time, you're like, if you're doing it for the ancestors, your ancestors didn't have the privilege to say they didn't feel like it. Your mama, your grandma, your aunties, they ain't had the privilege to say, I don't want to go to work today. My grandmother didn't have the privilege to be like, should I do this or should I do that? She's like, I got 4 mouths to feed. I'm the first Black woman in this post office. I got to go to work every day. Okay, my friend is 89 years old and still going to work every day, no matter if we like, could you please sit down? Mm-mm. Because all her life, she didn't have the privilege to be like, I just don't want to. But you do. While you're sitting there overthinking, not writing, not showing up. You want to call out everybody else's privilege and power? What about yours? What about you sitting there being real comfortable? You made it all the way to a doctoral program where 100 years ago, 70 years ago, 50 years ago, people just like you they would have given anything to have this opportunity. And you're sitting there like, I don't know, it just don't feel good. It just don't feel like it just don't what and you don't want to finish your dissertation more than you want to stay in your victim mindset. It is hard. I know that's gonna be hard. I know somebody's ready to be like, girl, I'm ready to throw hands with you. But you are comfortable. You are. Because you have more control. You're just giving it away. And I'm probably going ahead of myself in my slides. Becoming a doctor is hard. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. Are you willing to pay the price? And the price isn't you proving what you know. The price is being uncomfortable, feeling the resistance, people telling you you don't belong, and microaggressions. That's what you signed up for. So when I tell you to do the bare minimum, it's not because I don't want you to show up and do your best work. It's because I want you to have the physical, mental, and emotional energy and stamina to not only make it to the end of this process, but to do the work that you say you really want to do. That work that is like keeping you up at night, the people you keep thinking about. But if you burn out in this part of the process, you're not going to have anything left over. And if you can learn to trust that your 10% is 90% because your whole life you've been working twice as hard, if you learn to trust that, you would just show up and do the bare minimum and watch them react to like, they just fall all over themselves. Like, it's so amazing. I can't believe it. And you over here like, what? Go back to the room, right? If your mama say you just need to do those 4 things and that's what it means to be clean, the thing is, that's the same thing that's true here. If you just show up and do the bare minimum and just follow their instructions, you will be at graduation too. Here, let me bring this point all the way home. Think about the people who graduated from your program. Think about people that you know they're not working. You know they ain't read nothing, but they doctor, you're not. Why is that? They're just showing up and putting in the steps, doing the bare minimum, but you over here trying to like make it fancy. I'm not really sure why. Get your things, get your degree and move on. Follow their little process. You could do it in your sleep. Yeah, I am so passionate right now and I'm going so hard because it is simple. What they're asking you to do is so simple. Do their little process. Watch them, study them, learn. Strategize how you're going to fuck it up after the degree. When you're a doctor, you don't need the degree to be legitimate. You need the degree to learn the process, like learn how they operate, learn how they think. Because the way oppression works, it's a very small group of people at the top. And those people, their privilege comes from how they think. The rest of the people in the oppressive system, the ones who are being oppressed, they do the labor, they do the doing. You keep focusing on the doing and not realizing, oh, you're in a system that is teaching you how to think. Think like them. not to become them. That's where you lose the plot when you want to become them. No, learn how they think, because if you can learn how someone thinks, you learn how they made the decisions, you learn how they designed the system, and you learn where the holes are and the gaps are because you're coming from a different perspective than they have. And so when you identify those gaps and those holes, you're like, oh, I know how to cut off this system. I know how to fuck it up from the inside. But that's going to require you to know that you are deserving and you are worthy without their degree, without their approval. That's you recognizing you're not a victim, that you show up for yourself, that you take care of yourself, that you can trust yourself. Because when you do this work, you are going to feel a lot of times isolated and lonely, because that's what it means to disrupt the system. Your chair don't have to approve of you to be powerful. You're already powerful. You're already in control. I'm just asking you to get up and get to work and stop looking to them to give you something that they're not going to give you. I want you to create so much evidence for yourself, evidence you believe, not what they believe, evidence that you believe. And they have no choice but to give you your things. I did your process. You said your process was this. I did this. What's the issue? And when you're not emotional, when you're not in your emotions, and you can say, hey, chair, right? You could be like, Erica, Bill. Now I didn't print it out all 5 drives, Bill. Okay. Now you're telling me to do something in drive 2 and we in drive 5, Bill. What? Tell me what's up. Oh, I didn't mean it like that, Erica. Here's what I mean. If you just do this, then we can move on. All right. Because she was like, wait a minute now. I didn't follow your process. And I'm not, and she wasn't in a victim mindset. She could be like, hey, Bill, you said we do this, we do this. What's happening? And he just got excited. But imagine had Erica been in her emotions and thinking, woe is me. She wouldn't have any receipts. She wouldn't have shown up to write. She wouldn't have gave him his 5 drafts. She wouldn't have done it. And so she wouldn't have had enough confidence and trust in herself to go show up and be like, now, Bill, explain it to me like I'm 30. That's a different energy with her chair, right? That's not being disrespectful. It's not fighting him. He just didn't communicate it all the way. And now he loves her so much. It's his dissertation, okay? They co-wrote it now at this point. He's so excited. But when you show up in that energy, y'all, people want to work with you. You'll be shocked how easier it becomes because they're like, wait a minute, you know what you're doing. You got a system. I want to be with you. How do I help you? Create believable evidence. Get out of your emotions. Focus on shitty paragraphs, pages, drafts, meetings with your chair, questions that you asked and that were answered, feedback requests, making decisions ahead of time. Make sure you have a number of sources of support, right? Because I'm going back to Erica's example. She didn't show up with, I feel like you're not being fair to me, chair. She showed up with, now we got 5 drafts. Here are all the emails we've been back and forth. Here's what you said. This is what I said. She showed up with receipts and evidence. Help me understand what we got lost, friend. That's a difference than you being like, I just feel like you don't like me. I feel like you don't want to help me. No, show up with something. We're going to play their game. They love the written word. Let me give it to you. But if you're not showing up, if you're not doing the work, if you're not building your own evidence, you don't have nothing to show up with but your feelings. And I'm not saying your feelings are not valid. I'm just saying in this system, those are not valued. Give them what they're looking for because you signed up for their program. Right? This dissertation includes 4 parts. How you're organized, how you design the research, how you write up the research, and how much trust you have in yourself, how much confidence you have in yourself. Do you embody that? Your chair's job is just to help you design the research. They don't care how you organize yourself. They don't care what your writing process looks like. And they don't care if you're confident or not. That's not their job. Their job is to make sure is your research line in alignment. The rest of this, that's on you. In this program, right, this is the reason why I organized it in this way. And this is the reason why I'm like 12 months. Because truth be told, y'all, writing a dissertation in 12 months is aggressive. I know your program lied to you and was like, it should be easy. No, that's a lie. It's an aggressive timeline. Most people are taking on average 2 to 4 years to do a dissertation. That's the average. So me saying 12 months is still aggressive. I don't want you to get it twisted. But I also know what is required for you to do it in 12 months is for you to make peace with, I'm going to write a literature review in 30 days, right? I'm going to do my data collection in 30 days. And the reason why you can do it in 30 days is because you're not making it personal. You're not trying to change the world. You're showing up and following the instructions outlined. Right? It's also why you have so much support in this program. I am not trying to tell you something because I don't want you to do your best work, because I want you to win. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you so you can get to the end. You, though, have to raise your hand and say, okay, you have to go to the circle and say, help me. You have to go and watch the video. You have to follow the writing guide. Like, right, I'm showing up. You got to meet me halfway. If I'm like, tell me, where is your draft? And I see you as crickets. Now, Pena and I, we are following up and be like, hello, but I cannot come to your house and sit with you. If you wouldn't like it. You wouldn't like it. If I was like, let's work together, friend, you would be trying to get off that call so quick. You wouldn't like it because you wouldn't be able to entertain your excuses anymore. Right? I was just talking to Dr. Aya about this. We were debriefing after the Write Your Literature Review retreat. And she's been with me since 2020, 2019. So she's seen all like the iterations of the FYD program. And she said, we both at the end of that said, it doesn't matter how much we show up and hold the writing space and tell people step by step what to do. They still got to decide to do it. Think about you yesterday. How much did you allow yourself to follow the outline yesterday? How much time did you spend being like, I don't know, is this going to work? I'm not sure. Maybe I should try it like this. I gave you screenshots. I gave you step-by-step instructions. What did you do? So I want you to use the system, use the program, follow the instructions. It is hard. It will feel like, oh, so much resistance. Follow the instructions. You don't got to feel motivated. You don't got to feel good to follow the instructions. You do it every day when you go to work. You do it every day at home when you're washing dishes and washing clothes. You do it. You could do it in this dissertation. This dissertation is not your entertainment. All right. What are some reactions?
That was crazy hard. That was crazy hard.
Crazy harsh. Love you. Mean it. Let me end the stream.
I'm taking out work